Hi, it's Tennis James, and this is episode 8 of our 25-part series. And today we're going to be looking at my 3 main top tips when you're buying a new racket. There are so many rackets out there; it's very hard to pick the right one. So the first and biggest thing is make sure grip size. Make sure it's the right size for you. If you're not sure, I've put out a video previously on how you can check your grip size, but one easy thing is when you're gripping the racket, make sure you can fit a finger in between your thumb and your fingers. That's probably the easiest one to do. And if you're not sure, then borrow somebody else's racket, or potentially just go to a store and just have a look at their sizes and go from there. So make sure you've got the right grip size for you. If you've bought the wrong one, you can put something called an over grip on it, which I have on here, which makes the grip a little bit thicker. Other thing is the weight of the racket. So when you buy a racket, it's either strung or unstrung. So the weight can change depending on the strings you get, so just have a little research for that. But obviously it depends how you play. The heavier the racket, the more power you're going to get out of it, so the easier it is to hit a harder hit. Whereas the lower the weight, the more less power, but the more control and feel you get out of the racket, and it'll be easier. And the other thing is the size of the head frame. So a bigger head means obviously more contact with the ball, but a less sweet spot. So the less you're gonna get basically a nice feeling out of a shot. Whereas the smaller the head frame, obviously the harder to hit, but the more of a sweet spot in that center of the racket, which leads to obviously better shots. That more depends on, for me personally, is how well you play. So if you're a beginner, you want something more of a bigger head size. And then if you're more an advanced player, you probably want something a bit smaller. So those are my 3 main tips. Obviously there's more things to consider when buying a racket, but for me personally, those are my 3 main things that I will look at before I buy a racket.